I spent years living all the way in the box, afraid to step out, afraid to truly grab hold of my dream. And now I am breaking through, and I invite you to join me.
Your breakthrough starts now. Coming up on today's show, get ready to be inspired and transformed with our featured guests. Find out what's trending and get advice on life's daily challenges with Erica's top tips of the day. All of this and so much more coming up. So stay tuned. This is your one-stop shop for inspiration. The Erica Latrice Show. And now, here's your host, Erica.
Hello and welcome to the Erica Latrice Show. This is your one-stop shop for inspiration. Coming up, as you can see, are our top tips. I have some powerhouse guests in the Be Inspired Cafe. And if you have been looking just for a moment where you just need to pull away from it all, get refilled, get remotivated, get encouraged, get actionable steps, you just landed in the perfect place. So what we want to do is invite you to join the conversation because I do daily giveaways, and the best way to win is simply just by commenting. So in the Be Inspired Cafe today, I'm super excited. I have powerhouse Dawn Kennedy. She is I will just call her the resident guru of whatever you need. Finances. Do you need encouragement? What do you need? Well, Dawn has got you covered. I really believe that. And Justine is sharing some powerful tips to encourage you if you are in a place where you just need inspiration and you need to hear a story of overcoming. So all of that and so much more is coming up on today's show. If you want to get the giveaway, all you got to do is comment. And my challenge for you today, my question for you today is, what are you most thankful for at this present moment? What are you most thankful for at this present moment? When we come back, I'm jumping straight into the top tips and everything else. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Get ready for all new episodes of the Erica Latrice Show. You can join me weekdays at 2 o'clock Eastern across social media at Erica Empowers. That's Erica spelled like America. If you have a message that you want to share on the show, email us right now at info@ericalatrice.com or visit online at ericalatrice.com/be on the show. Welcome back. All right, it is time for our top tips of the day. And I have one tip for you. I'm going straight to the point. How is this working for you? Today, I'm talking about being grateful to overcome, being grateful in those moments, even when you feel like giving up. And I shared this today because a lot of times when we fall into this place of frustration, stress, and anxiety, and all of those things, it's usually because we're focusing on everything that has gone wrong. We're focusing on everything that we've lost. We're focusing on every obstacle that we can possibly think of. And you hear the saying a lot, misery loves company. I would even venture to say miserable thoughts love company, because one simple thing could go wrong. You spill your coffee and then now you hate your coworkers. Your car isn't good enough. These stupid traffic lights, everything just builds. So today I challenge you to join the discussion. What's one thing that you can shift your focus to a place of gratitude? What one thing can you be thankful for? And I know this sounds really like bubblegum drops and lollipops because we are all faced at times with very real issues. But I'm telling you from so many different experiences and stories and personal life examples, the best thing that you can do in those times is shift your focus to a place of gratitude. So I am so pumped, as I shared with you all, to jump into the Be Inspired Cafe with our first guest. Dawn is a powerhouse. She has attended law school. She has a background with entrepreneurship, a background with teaching you really how to navigate in the face of an obstacle. So welcome with me in the Be Inspired Cafe today. Dawn, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
All is well. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, I feel like I can't even sum up your story enough adequately in the intro. But can you tell us just a little bit about you and what it is that you currently do?
Yes, so I am actually now a financial coach and business strategist. And the way that came about was my husband and I had a consulting business. We opened it back in 2011. And we were doing really, really well. But we were struggling with things like cash flow and basic money management, but we made money and we didn't realize we were in trouble. So we had a near fatal accident. And when that happened, we lost our business and we realized we were facing a lot of debt and that we really didn't know how to handle our money. And when the dust settled, we ended up having to close everything and we had to pay back $76,000 of debt. That included self-employment taxes. We didn't know we were behind. And after that, I really realized that I wanted to do work in places that helped other families with debt. So I became a consumer law attorney. That's where my law school background came in. And then I went and trained as a financial coach so I could help families that way. Well, as luck would have it, almost all of my families were small business owners. So I really started helping shore up the business and the business finances and coaching families to be able to take paychecks home so that they could secure the family finances and I could help families thrive in business and stay out of debt.
I love so much of your story because you navigate it and it sounds really like simple. It's like, yeah, and then we had this catastrophic event and then we had like tens of thousands of dollars to pay back. But now, you know, I help people. I find that interesting because whenever we face challenges, we usually have to make those decisions. Am I going to dwell on the challenge and quit? Or am I going to become stronger because of it? And you've become stronger. So can you tell us, how did you make that decision that being faced with everything that you were faced with, that you weren't going to quit, and now you actually help people, which is insane to me?
Well, you know, first off, I think it was my husband who was our number one inspiration because after his accident, he was in a wheelchair. He had 4 skull fractures. He was really very injured. And he said to me, I'm getting out of this wheelchair. And because he said he was going to do that, and he was working so hard in rehabilitation and rebuilding his physical strength and things, it was almost like this, I can't not rebuild the other side of our life. I can't sit and cry in the corner. I've got to get up and fix what I can fix and do what I can do. Because, you know, we're not going to have one side be strong and the other side, you know, crumble. So that was where a lot of that came from, was this determination that I wasn't going to sit around and not show my husband that we were going to be okay, not just physically, but, you know, family-wise, financially, all of that. That was a huge thing.
Yes. So what would you say, what are some of those core principles, maybe that thing that you lean on every day that keeps you focused and keeps you moving forward, even when those challenges do come up?
So you said it earlier, actually, a lot of gratitude. Gratitude is so important. You know, he should not have survived the accident, but he did, and we're very grateful for that. We also rely, you know, very heavily on this idea that everything has a purpose, and we wouldn't be where we are today if there wasn't a reason for it. And those two things, knowing that we may not know today what the purpose is meant to be, but we will know soon, and that we're grateful for where we've been and where the journey brought us to so far, that keeps us getting up in the morning and going sometimes when we just don't feel like it, right? So in business, sometimes we don't want to do that anymore or whatever. Those two things keep you grounded.
Yes. And I feel like a lot of times when challenges do come our way, it's easy to think that it's a sign to give up. It's a sign to throw in the towel. And again, you're like the anti that. You're like, no, actually, I'm going to endure and I'm becoming stronger because of that. So what encouragement, or what would you say to that person that's actually maybe they're faced with something right now and they're trying to figure out, should I keep going? Like, is this a sign to quit, or how can I determine if I should be stronger because of it?
That's a great question. And when we're in the thick of it, the way that we feel sometimes is not very helpful. The one thing I can tell you is that you're stronger than your feelings. And if you can just remind yourself that there's a reason and you're going to figure out what it is in the future, and that you just have to keep going, even if it's just a little bit today. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, just a little bit. You're keeping moving forward.
That is the mic drop moment of today. I talk about this a lot. The definition, I'll just say the definition as it's been defined, of self-discipline is doing what you know you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. So what you just said, if anyone is watching right now, Don literally just gave you like a multi-billion-dollar nugget to live life by, just with that. Don, what would you say? What's that legacy that you want to leave? Like that key thing that you want your children or neighbors or people that come in contact with you to walk away with?
The number one thing is I want other people to know that I will always meet them where they are, that their stories matter to me, and that I don't live in judgment. And I try very hard to not be judgmental, although as human beings, sometimes that's a hard thing, but I want everyone to meet others where they are and have a level of understanding.
Yes. So I would love to hear a little more about how can we get connected with you. If you have just a little bit that you can tell us about what you do right now, how can we support you? And if you have something that's available that we can invest in, I would love to hear that as well.
Oh, thank you. So I actually am a financial coach for entrepreneurs, for businesses. I do coach families in the past. I don't so much anymore. But what I do is I help small businesses thrive by getting them paying themselves and getting them out of just breaking even, but making profit. So I'm huge into making more revenue and keeping more profit. And so in doing that, I have a small course called First Steps to Profit. And they can find that on the website there. But the cool thing is it's just a couple of modules to get you knowing your number and protecting your business so that you don't end up where we were back when our business closed. I want to protect you and your business.
That's the best teacher. Sometimes it's called, this is what you never want to do. Sometimes
Yes.
those are the lessons that we learn. I love it. Well, as you guys can see right there, you can get connected with Dawn across Facebook, Instagram. She's not going anywhere. She's coming back for our final thoughts in just a moment, but I'm going to take a short break. And when I come back, I have Justine here in the Be Inspired Cafe. And yet again, another story of overcoming. So today's theme is, if you were just wondering, how do I keep going? What can I be grateful for? What should I be thankful for? Our guests are pretty much summing that up for you right here in the Be Inspired Cafe. So don't go anywhere. Now's a great time to join the discussion. And the question today is, what are you thankful for? That's it. So join the discussion, tell a friend, tag a trailblazer. We'll be right back. Get your copy of my all-new book, Finished, where you can transform your life and get projects done in as little as 7 days. Go to ericalatrice.com. All right, welcome back. It is time for our next guest in the Be Inspired Cafe. And Justine has such an inspiring story of overcoming. And we've been talking about this today because a lot of times when trials come, it's tempting to want to give up. And she's done the exact opposite of giving up and showing up today to inspire you as well. So welcome, Justine, to the Be Inspired Cafe. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. And Dawn, thank you so much for those words of inspiration. That was incredible.
Yes, I said I love how it's so cool when stories just intertwine. It's like, who could plan this? You can't. But you have a very unique story as well. One of really being faced with something that would cause most people to shrink back, to quit, to give up. And you've done the opposite as well. So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your story that's led you to where you're at today?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So first of all, I am a wife and a mom of 3 adult children, and I'm a follower of Jesus. And those would be the first 3 most important things that I would want to say about myself. But by trade, I am a Spanish and French teacher who turned into a stay-at-home mom, who then turned into a network marketer and traveled the country with my kids as they followed their dreams, doing the activities that they were doing that caused them to go all over the country. And during this time, during this pandemic, I decided to take the lessons that I learned as a breast cancer survivor, as a 17-year breast cancer survivor who was given a 50% chance of living 5 years. I decided to take the lessons that I learned from that and to turn it into a business where I teach female leaders their behavioral and communication styles so that they can tap into their God-given strengths and talents to inspire, influence, and impact their families, their teams, their organizations, and their coworkers.
So good. Because again, I know that when we're going through trials, when we're having hard days, when we're in the middle of obstacles, it's easy to see it as a sign to give up. And Justine, I love that you talk about your faith, because I know that there are times where people can see setbacks. They can see even a medical diagnosis almost as a punishment. Like, how could God, allow this to happen for me? So what would you say, what have you learned in your own experience that has kept your faith strong and helped you to keep inspiring others despite what you had to overcome personally?
Well, you're absolutely right. So many people think that they're being punished by God when something happens to them. And my story is a little unique in that I had been praying before I was diagnosed that God would use me in a mighty and powerful way. That was my prayer over and over again. And when I was diagnosed, I was 33 years old. My kids were 2, 4, and 6 years old. I knew immediately that that was the answer to the prayer, although it was not the answer that I had been expecting or that I wanted. And so I knew that through that diagnosis and through the subsequent fight to live and to save my life and so that my kids could remember me, I knew that God wanted to use me for something. I didn't know what it was. And I feel like as the years have gone by, he's taken that story and that struggle, and he's used it at various times and in various ways for me to be able to inspire, influence, and impact other people. And that's what my prayer is that my life can do that for other people.
I think it's so good because even with Dawn, who just shared how her struggle, even down to her business, helped to catapult her to where she's at now with helping people with finances. Your struggle has actually helped you. I say struggle, but I don't even know the better word for that. I would say the catalyst that you both face, not struggle, but the catalyst has opened a world of network marketing for you, of entrepreneurship and everything else. So can you tell us just a little bit about that transition, how you've been able to launch into business in spite of what you had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, I was a teacher before I had children, and I decided that I really didn't want to do that full time. And I did teach again part time after my diagnosis, but I always knew that there was something more. And as much as I wanted to impact young people, I always felt like I was drawn to being involved with women in a leadership role, women who were maybe struggling to make ends meet, women who were looking for more. And so network marketing was kind of that natural catalyst, so to speak. And it wasn't until I really began thinking about what it was that I loved the most about network marketing that I realized what I wanted to do with this new business, Inspired Leadership for Her. And that's how it all, I mean, the pandemic was just the perfect time where it just overcame me. And I realized that that was where I was being led.
Yes. And I want to talk about that too, because I know for many of those watching right now, we are in a pandemic, and we can feel when crisis comes and when chaos comes, it's yet another sign to say, you know what, I'm out. I quit. I'm done. So tell us just what are some of those core principles or maybe even habits that you've developed that helped you see opportunity in chaos instead of it as a sign to run in the opposite direction and quit?
Well, I think that some of it is innate. I think some people just have the personality where they're tenacious. I often say that I just don't know how to give up. And so I think that some of it's innate, but I think some of it is also realizing that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And so we can take that pandemic and we can say, oh my gosh, this has messed things up. It's ruined my life. It's ruined my finances. It's taken over my confidence. Or we can look at it as, what am I supposed to learn during this time? And I think individually, this is a time when we can all figure out what am I supposed to learn? As a family, what are we supposed to learn? As a business, what are we supposed to learn? I sat in church on Sunday as we worshiped outside. And I just sat there and I thought, maybe this is what the church is supposed to learn, that we don't need the big fancy buildings, that we can just worship outside under the sky with fresh air. And so I think it's that turn in your mindset, that pivot to things don't happen to me, they happen for me. And when I look hard enough, I can find it.
I think that is a lesson learned. And even as I talked about just today, being grateful, gratitude, and finding what can I celebrate? Because even in the darkest of times, there's usually that one little glimmer of hope, that one little glimmer that will keep you grounded and keep you running. So what would you say with you stepping out? Has there been a time where maybe you felt like quitting? Maybe it wasn't always flowing as well and you had to fight a little harder. And if so, how did you keep going in the face of the obstacles?
Absolutely. I mean, I will tell my team, my network marketing team, I quit every day, every single day. I'll say to myself, I'm done, peace out. And yet there's that part in you that says, have you ever seen the picture where you see the person digging? He's digging a mine, and on the other side, I think, are diamonds or something like that. And he turns around and he quits. And somebody else picks up the spike and he starts digging. And that person gets through and hits it. That's what keeps me going, because I know that there's something on the other side. God has something great for each of us.
Yes, that's that moment where it's like, if anyone can relate to this, where you've had an idea and you're like, you know what? I really feel like I need to take action on this. And then you drag your feet and you drag your feet and you drag your feet. And there it is, the next commercial or flyer or something, the very thing that you thought about. It's literally like you just said, you dug so close and you gave up when you were just moments away from that open door. So I would love to know, Justine, what's that thing that you would hope, the legacy that you could leave for your children, for anyone that comes in contact with you and works with you in your business? What do you hope they gain from you?
Well, first of all, I hope that they saw that I was a faith-filled woman, and that I always tried to live my life according to what Jesus would want. But second of all, I hope that somehow, some way in our connection, whether it was online or in person, I hope that in some small way I was able to inspire people to keep going and inspire people to search for their relationship with Jesus.
I love it. So speaking of those that are searching for a way to connect with you, they want to follow what you're doing and learn more, what's the best way that we can do that?
Couple of ways. So on Facebook, you just look for me, Justine Peck Laser, and I'm right there sharing away. But I have Inspired Leadership for Her, which is a Facebook group and a Facebook page. And you can also find me at my website, inspiredleadershipforher.com.
I love it. I love your energy too. I love when people come. It's like midday. We're just knocking down obstacles and everything. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm bringing Don back up. Justine, we're just going to wrap up with our final thoughts of the day. This is a great time to comment, share, tag a friend, whether you're watching us live on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, wherever you're at. Just leave a comment so that we can shout you out and give away the gift for today. I forgot to mention, if you haven't already, we are gifting 2 entrepreneurships with the gift of launching, and that is sponsored by the Ivory Agency. So if you want to get more info about that, just go to ericalatrice.com/business giveaway. And I'll put the link up before we close out so that you can apply to win. And it's literally gifting you with registering your business. So there's no excuse. We're getting rid of that excuse. And when we come back, we are wrapping up with our final thoughts. So don't go anywhere.
If you're watching this, so are your potential clients. I'm excited to announce an all-new season of The Erica Latrice Show. It's coming up right now, and we're looking for featured guests as well as sponsors. If you want to be a success supporter of this show, connect with our team right now by emailing info@ericalatrice.com to get more information, or just support the mission of Be Inspired, to empower and inspire people all around the world with a message of hope and encouragement. Our mission is to bring you uplifting news and talk to encourage and share a platform for those who have a powerful message and looking for a place to share it. If you want to partner with the Erica Latrice Show, you can do so by emailing info@ericalatrice.com or visit ericalatrice.com/sponsor so that you can be a success supporter of this inspirational movement.
Welcome back. We are jumping to our final thoughts of the day. And I think it's so cool that for both of you, that your stories are just so similar in the way that you didn't take the challenge as a sign to quit. You took the challenge as a sign to keep going, to push, and to do more and more. So can you tell us just a little bit about what are some of those things that come up when you hear other entrepreneurs facing things that make them want to quit, and how they could keep going? Let's start with you, Don.
So the first thing is, they always say know your why, but I don't know that that's always compelling for some people. So I think rather than knowing your why, I guess know what your goal is. Like, what do you want this to look like for you at the end? Not necessarily why you're doing it, but what you're doing it for. So when you know what you're working towards, you can break that down into those baby steps that get you out of bed every day.
Yes, and it pushes you too, having those milestones. Sometimes if we're just going, we never know when we've hit anything. So it's like, going. That's a good point. What about you, Justine? What are some of those like core principles that you think if we could capture those principles, it will keep us able to endure even when times get tough?
I would say two things. One is probably a little bit nicer than the other one. The first one would be, who are you doing it for? Because so many times we are doing it not for us. It's not about the money most of the time. It's about something far more deeper, and it's usually someone far more deeper. But then the other thing is pride. Have some pride in what you're doing. So many people quit so early. You've got to stick it out. Have some pride in the process.
Yes. Don's like, yes. Because, and I say this because a lot of times we want to kind of like hold back until this arbitrary point that's not coming. Like, well, when I get 1 million followers, then I'm going to really, actually give value. Or when I make $1 million, then I'm going to give back and help people. And I believe the opposite is true. You show up for those two. You show up for that one, like they're the millions. And by doing that, that's when it opens the door for more. I would love to hear from you both. We're all on the same page. Like, yes. Has there ever been a time where you just had to show up, like you said, with excellence, with pride, even without the applause, and then it led to people coming on board and getting more support on the back end?
I'll start. Yes, that has happened on many different occasions starting out. Entrepreneurship is one of those things where you're getting your message out there. And when people don't know you and they don't quite know your message or what you can do for them, sometimes they're timid about being in your audience, or they're waiting to see before they engage, right? They're just watching over and over. And when you do continue to show up and you show that you care, over time, it is going to get them engaging with you. And even if they're not your right audience, I've found sometimes that the people you think are your right audience aren't necessarily when you get a little further down the road, but they will refer you to the right audience, and you will, get the double blessing of referrals back to other people that you wouldn't have found except for these people that were in the middle there to guide you.
So true. And people, I feel, will watch you for a time before they even say anything. Like, some people want to just make sure, you and I have talked about this, Don, like with featuring sponsors and stuff. Some people want to make sure, will you still be around next week before I, jump in and start telling the world about you. And then you say, you know what, never mind, I quit. Justine, have you had a time where showing up in the beginning actually opened the door down the line?
Well, I think even right now, since I just launched during the pandemic, I think I'm right in that zone. But as far as like with network marketing, it happens with all of us. When you start and nobody knows that you are that person. They know you as the teacher or as the mom. They don't know you as this now network marketer. And they sit back and they watch because they want to make sure you will be there. Do you truly believe this, or is this just a whim? And so every single person who launches something new, people don't see you as that person yet, but keep showing up as that person and you will turn them all into believers.
Yeah. So this is my next final thought. Have either of you experienced, we'll start with you, Don, where maybe family and friends thought you were like insane for stepping out the way that you stepped out? And what advice would you give to someone to keep going if that's the case for them?
So to be honest, I still have family that does, because I closed my law practice to do consulting, entrepreneurship online. I still practice a little teeny bit of law, but my family was like, are you nuts? What are you doing? You went to law school, you passed the bar exam. Why are you going online telling people how to make money? And it was something that I've had to face. And, there's still a little disapproval, but it's not for any other reason than they don't know of any other way. So online entrepreneurship was not available to other people. And I think when you have to push through and you have to get by, it's one of these things where you have to say, this is what I want to do. This is what's working for me, but maybe this wasn't available to you. So let me educate you a little bit on it, or let me keep you informed. Let me report to you how my business is doing or how my clients are thriving. And then you can see that this was my purpose and my impact, and practicing law was just a stepping stone to get there.
Don, that was another gazillion-dollar nugget right there. That people at times, they will give us based on their vision. They don't know what God has given you. So they're just literally speaking according to what they can see. Meanwhile, you have the whole vision is before you, the checklist, the steps, how it can work and everything. What about you, Justine? I love that you both transitioned out of careers into entrepreneurship, where it's like, what are you thinking? You know, but it's really cool that you're still smiling and showing up. So what advice would you give, Justine?
Well, luckily I have a very supportive family. They may not completely understand, but they're very, very supportive. But I have had friends and acquaintances who have said to me, you have a master's degree in Spanish. What are you doing, launching a coaching business? What are you doing slinging some health and wellness collagen products? And I'll say, you know what? It's working. And you know what? I have the benefit. I get to help people every single day, whether it's financially or the way they look and feel. I help, especially women, every single day. I help them with their leadership skills. I help them with their behavioral skills. I help them with their communication skills. And that is a blessing. And if somebody else doesn't understand that, they just don't have a clear-cut vision of what it is that I do.
I love it because I think about this a lot. What we do with each day is what we're doing with our life. And sometimes we want to put it off to some random date. When I'm 80, that's when I'm really going to, try something new. It's like, no, today is the youngest day that every single one of us will be for the rest of our life. So if you're not doing it right now, I doubt when you turn 97, you're going to have this, newfound energy to finally launch what makes you happy. So I love the message that you both share. It's really taking those leaps without apology and using those stones that have come your way as steps instead of obstacles. So if you have a final thought that you want to share as we wrap up, what's that one takeaway that you hope the audience would leave with? Let's start with John.
I think the one thing is the theme of this whole thing that keeps coming up is just to kind of keep going. So, going to bed with cookie dough ice cream. I had somebody tell me the other day that makes you a queen, not a quitter. If you go to bed with cookie dough ice cream, that makes you a queen. And I just thought that's what I needed to hear at the time, because sometimes things do get a little rough. But it's this idea of just keeping going and trying to go without judgment, knowing that each day you're doing just a little bit. And some days you're going to do more than others. But as long as you're moving forward, then you're still on the path to your purpose. Maybe not as fast as you think you should be, but you're not really in charge.
Amen. That's so true. Yes. What's your one takeaway, Justine?
I don't know if I have one. I would say that God has a plan for everything, and he uses every single thing for good. If we're open to going down the path that he has, it might not be our path. And a lot of times it's not our path. But when we come out on the other side, we can see the beauty of the journey that we just took.
Yes, that's been the story of my life this week. I was like imposing on people. I'm like, I don't even know if you read the Bible, but Romans 8:28 is your word today. All things are working together for your good. Just write that somewhere. I agree. And so speaking of working together for our good, our giveaway winner today is Jonte. And I just want to shout you out. She says she's going to keep going. She's going to keep her faith in God. And actually, it's time for you to smile today, Jonte, because you are the winner of today's giveaway, which is 30 days of support, encouragement, and coaching to support you along the way. All you got to do to redeem your giveaway is email me at info@ericalatrice.com. And I hope this brightens your day today. I want to say again, thank you, John. Thank you, Justine, for taking time out to be on the show. And I'm wrapping up our other giveaway. We just got to keep giving stuff away. That's my goal. Go to this link, ericalatrice.com/business giveaway if you want to be one of our lucky entrepreneurship So that's our show for today. I wish I had more for you guys because I have so many more questions. There's dropping nuggets. But stay connected with me across social media at Erica Empowers. If this has encouraged you, tell a friend, tag a trailblazer, share it, go back and watch the replay if you need to, and go out, as I always tell you, and make today amazing because it is absolutely a choice. Take care and thank you for watching.
For more inspiration, visit us online at ericalatrice.com.